words can read. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a movie review on 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott. So this was made into a movie. It comes out in the UK on the 22nd of March. I think it comes out in the US literally like 5 days before that. I think it's like the 17th or some date like that. Why do they get it early? It's very, very unfair. It's because it's an American film, because with American actors and all that. However, guys, I was very, very lucky to be invited to an early screening of 5 Feet Apart. So I was actually emailed on the Friday to come to see the movie in London on the Sunday, and it was last minute, but I had the weekend off and I was like, you know what, I haven't been to London this year because I was off with pneumonia like a month before, and I thought, you know what, I like travelling on my own and it's very independent and it does give me a lot of self-pleasure. Obviously the only downside is like the train ticket is quite expensive because I don't often go to London, and book buying as well. I literally have no restraint whatsoever. So I was like, hell to the yeah, I'm going to watch this movie. So it was Piccadilly Circus Picture House, and I got there really early. I got there at like 9 o'clock. We were meant to meet at 9:30, so I just sat downstairs with my hot chocolate from McDonald's from just across the road. 9:30 came, more people were starting to come in. I wasn't like the earliest person. There were a couple of people that came like 5-10 minutes after me who sat down as well to wait. So we went up the stairs, and then they had this list of people who would obviously be there to watch the movie, and in total there was probably like just under 100 people. It wasn't really like a massively packed screen. There were some rows where they were filled up, but there were some when they were like half filled up. So I would say probably like 80 people, around about that, in the actual screen. And I imagine they were of like magazine editors and reporters and possible like actors like from other things, people maybe that have won competitions, and then there's the publicist and so on and so forth, like relatives of other people. So I felt very honoured. I didn't really recognise any people that were there myself, otherwise I would have been like, hey, it's me. But I was like looking around, I was forever looking around and being like, is there someone here? But no, I didn't actually see anybody. So then we had this introduction from this woman that had cystic fibrosis, and she was just sort of saying about the person that the movie is actually based on, called Claire, and she passed away last November because of cystic fibrosis. And she was saying that the representation of cystic fibrosis in the film is very sort of like heartbreaking and realistic, and it sort of does make you think, and it will break your heart and everything. And I was just like, oh my god. And I'd read the book before watching the movie, so I already kind of knew what was going to happen. And I watched the trailer, and I saw the trailer was very, very close to the book as it was. So just I wanted to sort of form my own opinion on it all. So I did do a review on the book, which I'll link below as well. So in this video I'll be reviewing the movie, and I will be comparing the book to the movie, similarities and the differences, and the characters and the props and the scenery and everything. And then the movie began. We were provided by the lovely, lovely cinema and the makers of the film by allowing us to have a copy of the book, as well as some lights, some of our own lights, which is very, very relevant to the film, and also some love hearts because it's a romance film, and they provided batteries for the lights as well, and some sweet and salted popcorn, and a little information pamphlet about cystic fibrosis. So, and it also came with a 5 Feet Apart tote as well, which definitely keeping, and I was using that around London. It was more of an excuse to fill up my bag with small books. So essentially, if you don't know what the story is about, 5 Feet Apart is about this girl called Stella, and it's about this character called Will. Now Stella has cystic fibrosis. She has had it for quite a while, pretty much her whole life. She has a best friend that's at this hospital, and he's called Poe. So they pretty much have been growing up together with cystic fibrosis, being like across the rooms from each other. And then one day Will is sort of like admitted there. He has Cepacia B, which, you know, is pretty much cystic fibrosis, but it's kind of got like an extra added thing onto it. So he's there for specific treatment for Cepacia B, and so he comes in with this attitude of being like, you know what, I'm forever being drifted off to several hospitals, several treatments. What makes this one to be different? So he meets up with Stella on this balcony. She sees him outside. She's like, what are you doing? And then she's like, let me see your regimen. He's sort of like taking the piss out of it, and she's like, you taking the piss out of your regimen is making me very edgy. And so he doesn't like that, and he's like, okay, what can I do? So she's like, you know what, we're going to start our treatments together. And so they have this friendship and relationship with each other. However, the thing with cystic fibrosis is you can't be more than 6 feet apart. That is the actual guidelines, because if you are within a certain distance, you can catch other people's germs and you can end up being worse, and you pretty much can say goodbye to having any new lungs, like a lung transplant sort of thing. So that is pretty much the story of it, literally just about these people suffering cystic fibrosis, living in this hospital. It's literally about friendships and family and hope and living, and very, very highly on cystic fibrosis itself. It really does teach you a lot about what it is, makes you value your own lungs when you don't have cystic fibrosis. Yeah, so it's a very, very good and meaningful book, is what I found. So with the movie, it sort of starts off like with this echo from the, like in the beginning and the end, there's this sort of like echo of the same thing that Stella actually says, but it's just sort of like, this is because of him, and then it ends like, all this was because of him. So it's nice that there was that echo. And I really, really liked the scenery, how it was set up, like in the hospital and the rooms, and it was near enough how I was imagining the hospital, and even like the nurse character, and they were just sort of like, as I pretty much imagined, they were really, really good, especially like the one that was pregnant and the black one that was looking after them. I thought that was really good. Like, she really showed that she cared about her patients. And then I think that Hayley Lu Richardson did a fantastic job of portraying Stella. I thought she was really, really good. And the same with Cole Sprouse. He was really, really good at being Will. He was a definite Will, and even when you read the book, you can see Will as being like a Cole Sprouse sort of thing. Like, where in Riverdale he does kind of play like this, what at first is kind of like this dark character. He is literally kind of like, not really so dark, but he's like this quirky, funny, but like he really, really does care. And so I really, really loved how their characters were portrayed. I really liked the setup. The scene with the kitchen was not how I was sort of like imagining. I was trying to like picture how that would be, and the actual cinema screening really does show like how it should look like. And I thought, once I saw it, I was like, yeah, actually I can totally see that scene now with the kitchen. And with the balloons, my goodness, those balloon scenes where he had to go and follow those balloons around the building for his birthday. Every time he popped a balloon, I was jumping in my seat because I do not like balloons. And he had to literally get this needle and pop it right in front of him. I was like, oh my god, Cole Sprouse, how could you do that? I would literally hate it. It makes me, it just makes me shuddery so much. Literally one of them I just went, and I'm sure the people behind me were like probably like laughing their heads off. I was just like, oh my god, this is so good. So yeah, those were like some really scary moments. But my god, did the film capture the cystic fibrosis feelings. Like there was this scene where Stella was wearing the like vibrating chest, where it's meant to be on, and it just vibrates. It was nice to see that in action, and that's sort of like for cystic fibrosis patients, it's meant to sort of like dislodge pretty much all of the lovely phlegm and everything that's on the chest, so you release it and you cough it up. And that scene where she's actually like bringing it up, I'm just like, whoop. So it makes you sort of like realise all that crap that's on their chest, and they are forever like coughing all the time, like Stella and even Will with Cole Sprouse. Like, so they did a really good acting of having CF as well. I mean, like actors, they're actors, so they can be a character, but to try and come through by having like cystic fibrosis, that's like an additional thing to have. They got to remember to sort of be feeling unwell, to be feeling tired, to have days when you feel like you can't get out of bed, and you know, to be forever like coughing and to be forever like bringing things up and that sort of thing. So it's like an added sort of thing that you've got to have. So I thought they did really well in that sort of aspect as well. And just even throughout, like it must have been really directed well, because it was literally like it was the book. Like as I was following through it, even the dialogue that they were saying was pretty much as if I was reading the book. I was like, I remember reading this. The character Poe, honestly, he is my favourite. He's my favourite from the book, and he's my favourite from the film. And the guy that they got to play him, to portray him, was fantastic. He definitely got his hilarious moments right, and like all of those sort of quirky lines that he had was so good. The scene where Poe dies, my goodness, I was bawling my eyes out, literally like tears were streaking down my face. Like it wasn't hysterical crying because nobody else was hysterical crying, I was trying to control myself, but I was just streaming tears down my face, and it was so sad. I was really choked up when I read the book. It doesn't take a lot for me to like cry at films, but it's harder at books. But I did get very choked up in the book when Poe passed away. But that was so sad. Like in the movie, it literally was just sort of like so sad, like just to see how Stella was broken up, and even Will, how he's just sort of like walking away, he can see that he was the problem sort of thing, and like that it could have been him that made him worse, and them blaming themselves. And that was so sad. The scene where Stella falls under the water in the ice, that was so scary. Literally in the cinema when that happened, when he literally turned around and she was just not in the ice anymore, she just fallen through the ice, the whole cinema near enough went everyone took a big gut. Obviously I've read it, so I kind of knew that was like gonna happen, but still it's like a bit of a shock in itself. So just to see her like fall through this ice, and just how he like pulled her out, and that he like Cole just did a fantastic job. It's just how he was just like so distraught, like he literally had the proper like in hysterics of crying, like crying hysterics of thinking, oh my god, she's dying, how can I save her? So he literally gives her mouth to mouth sort of thing. And I love like the honesty in which when they come into the hospital and he's like, I had to give her mouth to mouth, there was nothing to do. And it's so nice for the nurse to be like, she would have died if you didn't. And just the relief just when she come through, and the nurse was just like, she doesn't have B patient, and he's just like, oh, but she's like, but it doesn't mean to say that she won't ever get it. So yeah, they were just, it was just done like so well in so many ways. Just the scenes and the setting and the atmosphere, how cystic fibrosis was portrayed. I think personally a lot of people with cystic fibrosis will really appreciate this film. I've heard of one or two just watching the trailer and being really excited that there is a cystic fibrosis representation finally. And I hope that it really does justice. I don't have cystic fibrosis myself, so I don't know what it's like, so I can't really exactly say like, oh yeah, it's really good representation. But there was somebody that did this speech before who had cystic fibrosis, and she had watched the film. So, you know, if one person says that it's good, and considering they go through it, you know, I'm hoping that other people will as well. So I'm hoping that this film will go really far. I'm hoping it's going to send a message. I'm hoping that a lot of people are going to watch it. I'm definitely going to get it on DVD. It's definitely one of my favourite films of the year. The acting is so, like, immense. It's fantastic, and just everything was so good. It's so close to the book. The only two things that I noticed that weren't in the book was definitely the ending. So in the end of the book we have the scene after the hospital where Stella and her friends go to the airport. She's literally like doing one of the things on her to-do list that wasn't originally on her list. So she's going to an airport, she's going to travel with her new lungs, and then she sees Will with his friends pretty much at the airport just over there. He's going on to a different flight, and the last of that scene is just where they sort of like glance at each other and sort of like smile. But the film ended pretty much the scene just before that, which, you know, is still an acceptable ending to the film. There was one song that they used where Stella was on the computer because she does YouTube videos, and they played that song that was in The Fault in Our Stars, and I was just like, it was already making me feel really sad. I was just like, this was in The Fault in Our Stars movie, like, this is so sad. So yeah, so I just thought, oh yeah, the music in the film really good. I'm actually, when I finished the film, I was like, I need to get the soundtrack of this movie. So that will be out soon, so I've got to get the soundtrack because it just, so many good songs in it. And yeah, all the songs just went really well to all of the scenes as well. So it all comes together just with everything, like the setting and the acting, and obviously the costumes that people wear, and the props, and the scenery and the music. It just all goes together really well. The scene with the lights at the end was so beautiful, and just what Will would do for Stella, and just the portrayal that these two actors, they have this really good bond. They literally bounced off each other really well. They just, you really believed the romance between these two people, and just how much they really did love each other, that Will had to literally leave her, like, because he was just like, I just can't be with you. And it's just like, but that is the harsh reality of it all. It's sort of like where you can fall in love with somebody but you can't actually be with them, and they have to learn to sort of like accept and move on. And you know, they could be friends, they could be like long distance friends, but they can never have anything sort of like romantic between them. Oh my goodness, guys, what a fantastic film. I just want to say again a massive thank you to the publicist and the publisher for inviting me to see the film, for Picture House Cinema for providing the popcorn, and the publisher for providing a book and these lights, which I'm definitely going to be using. And yeah, I'm so honoured. So please guys, definitely go and watch the film. It's so worth it. But if you haven't done already, please read the book. Learn more about cystic fibrosis. I didn't know too much about it before. I definitely know more about it now. More people need to read the book. People need to watch the film. Not everybody reads books, but the people that don't read the books, please go and see the film. It's not just a romance story. It does teach you about cystic fibrosis. So there you have it, guys. That is the end of my movie review. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you have. If you have watch the film once you've watched this, please let me know down below in the comments any comments and thoughts on the film that you have. If you haven't, then go and see it now. That's it from me, guys. Keep smiling, keep reading, and be happy. My social media links will be linked down below if you'd like to follow me elsewhere, and I'll see all of you wonderful awesome people in my next video. Bye.